I have been around the world from Tokyo to Mexico. I have seen the shining lights of Hollywood, ruins of ancient Rome, but there's no place like home. There's no
Hi, everybody.
place like home.
Welcome. We are listening to Paula Fuga's No Place Like Home.
And the greatest days is when we never do nothing, where the jellyfish never sting our toes, and the rain falls down where the flowers grow, and everyone is your ohana if your vibes is pono kani kapila. Anytime, anywhere we
We'll wait a couple more minutes for people to filter in.
No place like home. There's no place like home. Where the sun shining all the time and the skies are blue, where the birds sing and the vines swing and it's all for you, where the river runs down from the mountain to the sea, where love grows and good vibes flow in between you and me.
We were expecting, I think, 20 people RSVP'd. So maybe we'll wait until 9:05. In the meantime, if you want to change your Zoom identifier to your name, your pronouns, and anything else that's relevant to you,
Where the water falls anywhere it pleases, and you don't get caught begging on your knees. Just
Hi,
like the
Ati.
fruit, it grows everywhere on trees, and we picks and eats it anytime we please. Is where the sand it sinks in between our toes, and the ocean waves break upon our soul. Where we slip and slide down the mountainside.
Hey, Anna. I was on mute. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. All right. So that was Paula Fuga's No Place Like Home, and I chose it because I don't know about you all, but I was traveling a lot over December, and there really is no place like home. Being back here, I feel so grateful to be able to live here. Of course, being abroad and exploring where I was also magical. Mixed feelings being back, but very strong sense of gratitude for this place. And I woke up this morning thinking maybe I should change the song to something written by Queen Liliuokalani, because today is the anniversary of the overthrow. And if you want to look it up, I think there's a really beautiful rendition from the Hawaii Symphony on the Ke Aloha o Kahaku. So that's the second song choice for today, if you want to check it out. But we'll get started. Welcome, everybody. So glad you're all here. Thank you for being here. We are recording this for people to be able to check it out afterwards. We have a resource folder for Hui Māla on Google, and we have all the recordings in there. So that's a resource for people who aren't able to attend. Today, we will have a quick introductions and a welcome circle. And then we'll have a recap from the last in-person convening, December 5th. That feels like ages ago. From James, he's here, I think. Right. And then we will have a presentation from Hui Ohonua, if there's somebody here also representing that organization. But maybe they haven't come on the call yet, to be announced. And then Jason will give a presentation on Oahu Food Systems Plan. We'll have time for update or for feedback on that. And we'll close with member updates from everybody here in the call and a closing with some announcements. All right. So to start today, again, please change your Zoom name to your name, pronouns, or organization, any information that you think is relevant for this space. And then since we are a smaller group, I think it would be fun to go around the Zoom room and share a response to this question in the spirit of the new year. What is one personal or professional resolution that you have for this new year? And I'll stop sharing screen. And then I'll just go around based off of the list here of participants. Alex, do you want to start? Alex Naranjas?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Happy New Year. I'm Alex Naranjas Corby, she, her pronouns from the Office of Economic Revitalization in the city. My personal goal for this year is just to take more photos because I felt like last year I wasn't taking a lot of photos of where I was or of myself. Professionally, I think now that I've been at OER for a little, like coming up on a year, I feel a lot more grounded. So just doing some, like broader goal setting now that I'm sort of my head's above water. Both of those are pretty vague resolutions, but just trying to keep it simple.
Keeping it simple. I like that. Next, I have Alice.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alice Liu, Food System Program Manager with Hawaii Public Health Institute. My professional goal is to go chase for more funding so we can grow the food system program at Hi-Fi as well as more plants, more fruit trees and everything. My personal goal is to complete the marathon in December, which I absolutely hate running. Running sucks, but if I can complete something I hate, I think life is pretty good. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Alice. I believe in you. Anna Ezzy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Ezzy. I'm located in Hilo on the Big Island, and I work with the County of Hawaii in research and development. And a personal resolution, I've been wanting to get better at cooking. My partner does a lot of the cooking, and my skills are not there. So I want to cook for more people.
Awesome. And then I have Anya next.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm Anya Neville. I am involved in a community garden in Mililani, and one of my resolutions is to grow more lily koi, so I'm working on that. I've got a lot of lily koi seeds in process. Another resolution is to finally find some more funding for our little community garden, and then also to spend more time in the ocean, swimming or whatever. So that's about it.
Great. Thank you, Anya. Ati?
Aloha, everyone. My name is Ati Jeffers Fabro. I work with the National Park Service and the Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program. My professional goal this year is trying to stay vigilant, especially with incoming administration. Things are going to change. We've got to stay positive, and just stick with our communities and just hopefully we can make things happen and keep it going. So I'm hopeful for that. Personal, I too, Anna, traveled, and I was out in Europe. We were up in England, then Amsterdam, and then Turkey. really got great perspective, like you were saying, on what the world is like, and we're more alike than not. And when I travel, I like to be with the common people, with the regular people, and just hang out with, those types of places. And, the sightseeing is fun, but it's the people and the places and the food that really bring me to. And once again, yeah, like you said, it is culture shock to come back. Um, it's a difficult transition, especially with the way things are right now. And but it is, we're this island in the middle of the ocean. Everybody appreciates that wherever we travel when we say that. So yeah, I'm with you. Thanks. Aloha, everyone.
Thanks, Ati. I think there's something connected in this being vigilant with the incoming administration and all the funding goals that we might have for this year, because
Yeah.
there's going to be challenges with that, but also a rush to get money out right now that we might want to be paying attention to. Next, I have Jason.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jason Sean. I work at the City and County of Honolulu in the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency. Professional goal for me this year is to finish and get approved the Oahu Food Systems Plan, which is, I'm very excited to talk to everybody today and get your ideas. Personally, my kid just started daycare this week, and so getting him through and making through all the sick days that he's gonna have and that I'm gonna have is that I know is coming up is it's gonna be a big one.
Lots of vitamin C. Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. I live on Molokai and I work at MEO Youth Services. So, oh, sorry, my pronouns are she, her. Not used to that pronoun. But anyway, my personal or my professional goal would be for each of our youth to at least have one new favorite hobby that they learned this year. Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome, Jessica. Thanks for being here. Next, I have Kate.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kate Eichstead. I work with the Community Garden Program within our Department of Parks and Recreation here in Honolulu. Professionally, I think the theme this year professionally is giving support. We are in our 50th year of our community garden program, and just supporting our gardeners as we are going to be having some rules change. So offering that support, getting those gardeners, understanding those rules and helping them through that, because change is always hard. And then professionally, I think this is the perfect group that I can share this with, or not professionally, personally. Very excited. I was awarded the micro grant for home gardening, and I'm just really excited to take my home garden to the next level and produce more fruits and vegetables, and then be able to share that out within my neighborhood and my community as well. So really excited. So I'm going to take some before pictures and then be able to kind of show how I'm going to transform my yard into a food forest. So really excited about that.
Awesome. Congrats on getting that. I wonder if anyone else here is starting, or if other people who've applied are getting their awards soon. I'd love to hear that. And then Lindsay, and then Stacy.
Good morning, everyone. Lindsay Ilagan at Hi-Fi, she, her. I would really look forward to getting our age-friendly recognition for our Public Health Institute this year. We're super close. So hopefully a few more months and we'll get that. Personally, I am because I work in the kupuna space and doing age-friendly work, I have a lot of appreciation for the skills, ikin, and knowledge and wisdom of our kupuna. So my goal is to do more Hana no things this year. So I'm gonna join Ulana cohort, and so wish me luck. Hopefully I can learn some weaving skills. Mahalo.
Thanks, Lindsay. And Stacy.
Aloha everyone. I'm Stacy. Sorry, it's very early. I'm a student in the Sustainable Community Food Systems program at UH West Oahu. And I'm also a Master Gardener intern, and I'm working with Kauai Ha'o Church in our community garden space. So I think that kind of ties into my professional goal of finding balance between all the multiple things I have going on, and my personal goal is to try and find time to rest in between everything. But I'm really excited to work with you guys. So thank you so much for putting it out there at the Food Summit, because that's how I found out about this. I signed up. I think everybody was in a talk, and I was just putting my name down on every table. So but yeah, thank you so much. Mahalo.
Thank you for being here, Stacy. I think both it's Jessica and Stacy who are new to the Zoom convening. So thank you for being here. I'm really glad that we have some new faces. I'm going to share a screen again and I guess I'll give the recap for last month's convening because I don't see James. He was here for a second and then disappeared. So maybe he's having tech issues, but bear with me as I turn on this share screen. Everyone see that? Yep. Okay. This is the poster, by the way, from Hui Māla, or from the Hawaii Food System Summit tabling portion. I still have it, so if anyone has an opportunity to go to like some sort of tabling event and they want to share about and represent Hui Māla, let me know and you can take the poster and the poster board. So last month we met at the Punchbowl Housing Garden, really close to here where I am in Nu'uanu. And it was in the morning, a beautiful sunny morning. In the garden that was started. And the reason I wanted James to be here is because he was really instrumental in getting those beds in the ground originally, and working with the resident coordinator. Is that the position title? Soul to work with residents and get beds in the ground and engage people to know, so that they're aware that they can use these beds to grow their own produce and maybe even eventually, hopefully with their new rec space, even have classes and learn gardening skills. And so that was really fun. That's a picture of Kate talking about chard, maybe. We had a lot of snacks. It was great. It wasn't even announced that it would be potluck style. It's just everyone brought food because that's just the kind of people we are. We cleaned up a lot of green debris because there is a maintenance team that does do that work, but when you beautify and clean up a space, it becomes a lot more inviting to people to participate. And there's a group photo of all of us. It's really fun. And I also want to thank you, Alice, because Alice really organized this convening, put this together. So I'm going to, sorry, Jason, to flip it back on you again, but because I just sent an email to Anthony, maybe I'll give him a call while you're presenting. But because nope, just making sure no one is here from Hui Ohonua. No, but I do see that we have a new, someone who has come online right now, Georgia. If you are able and interested to go off mute for a second, just introduce yourself. We also went around and shared a new year, either a professional or personal or both, a resolution you have for the new year.
Good morning, aloha. My name is Georgia Pinsky, chiming in from the Maui Farmer Support Network. We do direct coaching, and we offer a tool library for farmers here in Maui, working with about 80 small and beginning farmers in Maui County. And my resolution, I guess, is both personal and professional. Speak louder. That's it. Thank you.
Love that. I also realized I didn't really introduce myself. So really quickly, I also work with Kate in the community gardening program with the city, and professional, similarly with her being the 50th anniversary, I think there's a lot exciting transitions we can have for our program this year. And professionally, would love to see some implementation on the planning that we've been doing the last couple of years. So stay tuned on what that might be. Too soon to say, but big goals. Okay. And Jason, do you have a slideshow? Here, I'll make you co-host in case.
Yeah, that'd be great if I could share my screen. That's okay. I think many of you saw my presentation at the Hawaii Food System Summit. Some of you may have not been there, I think. So I'm very happy to do this and flesh it out a little bit more, but I do apologize if some of it is repetitive. But I am always happy to learn more and ask about your ideas. If this is your second time doing it, you can kind of flesh out your ideas a little bit more because, yeah, this needs everybody's input. Let's see if I can share screen. Okay. Can you see that slide? Yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. Hi, everybody. Again, I work for the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency as the Food Security and Sustainability Program Manager, just to try and like provide a little bit more context about where I'm coming from and kind of like, yeah, the organization that's doing this. At the Resilience Office, we have several different programs. I am the only person in the food security and sustainability one, but I work closely with other people at the city like Anna and like Alex. In our office, we have several kind of guiding documents. These are three key ones. We have a resilience strategy. We have a climate action plan, which focuses on ways to reduce our impact on the climate. And we have Climate Ready Oahu, which is a climate adaptation strategy, which focuses on what we can do to adapt and reduce the impacts of climate change on Oahu. And I'm hoping, we also do an annual sustainability report, but I'm hoping to add another key document, which is the Oahu Food Systems Plan. Right now, we do not have a plan for enhancing food security and building a sustainable, prosperous, resilient, and equitable community-based food system. And so that's what we're trying to do. And when I say food system, I mean that pretty broadly. So the way that we're approaching food system is that it includes the food supply chain. So everything from inputs and production all the way through to consumption and waste. It includes the drivers and outcomes of that food supply chain. So things, they could be related to the economy, society, politics, the environment, all of those things and the impact that those things have on society as well. And of course, it includes the people in all those dimensions and the interconnections. So really anything that you can think of that is somehow related to food is part of the food system. And so this plan is also going to be quite comprehensive and holistic is what we're hoping. The overall objectives for this plan are to establish a unified food agenda for city and county, to identify specific actionable steps and investments that we can do going forward to enhance communication and coordination, not just within the city for sure, but also with our partners outside the city, nonprofits, the private sector. And I think that will go a long way to increasing transparency and building trust, which is one of Mayor's key goals. We want to support grant applications and funding opportunities, and of course, show how we're aligning local food systems efforts with broader sustainability goals like the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So in terms of like what we've done so far for this plan, this has kind of been in the making for a while. We've had listening sessions and mini food summits in different parts of the island of Oahu. had targeted meetings and discussions with key stakeholders. I've done and I'm continuing to do a literature review of existing city plans, because, I think one thing I don't want to do is overtax and go out and ask communities again the same questions that they've been asked. And there's a lot of knowledge that has been gathered in other plans that have already been published. So just making sure to do my own homework so that I don't have to tax other people's time. And yeah, I think it will be we'll use that information and incorporate it into the plan. Obviously, looking at academic literature, so we're grounded in science, so we can be effective and have the most efficient actions, as well as looking at trying to get inspiration from other local government food plans in the U.S. and abroad, and other counties as well in Hawaii. So in terms of a timeline, right now
Sorry, Jason, just
Yep.
letting you know you're still on the first slide. I don't know if you're
Oh,
supposed to be advancing or not. Or
thank
at
you
least on
for
my
letting me
screen.
know. Yes, thank you. Okay,
Okay, there you go.
those are the plans. That's the food system. Thank you, Alex. It's the sad flower, that's the food system. Those are the objectives. And now we're all together. In terms of a timeline, so now through, I would say May, but even later, June, July, like, is really kind of my push to get input from as many people, as many groups as I can. I'm only one person, and I do have some help from people in the office, but yeah, this is the time for me to reach out. After this, there'll be a chance for me to kind of like I'll try to be digesting things as we go along, but there'll be a little bit more time for me to revise. And then there'll be another kind of feedback phase, which will be, I'm hoping by that point, probably maybe in early fall, the content will be maybe 85, 90, 95% kind of set. And then we'll have maybe a couple more public meetings. There'll be a chance for people to see the document, aesthetic, and see the aesthetics of it, and comment on it. And then the goal is for me to be able to submit it and get it approved by the mayor by the end of 2025, and then just focus on implementation. We're already trying to do things, and obviously doing this plan is in addition to the actions and the implementation and the things we want to get done in the food system. But really looking forward to being able to, hopefully at the end of this year, just dive fully into doing stuff that's in the plan. So I wanted to share a little bit more about the framework now, about how we've organized the plan. So there are 5 dimensions that I've articulated. Under these dimensions, each of these dimensions has 2 to 3 strategies, and then each strategy has specific actions. One thing I also wanted to say that maybe I didn't make clear earlier was that this is a city plan. So this will guide the city government, City and County of Honolulu's actions in the local food system. So this is not, for example, a vision for all stakeholders on the island, like nonprofits and civil society and the private sector. This is specifically what the city can do to promote and help to transform the food system. That doesn't, of course, it will include partnering with civil society and the private sector, but we're really focusing on what the city government can do. So just going on to the different dimensions, I kind of wanted to give a brief overview, if that's okay. It says TBD, but that the first one in blue is going to be Pono. And it really is about food security, food and nutrition security, Malama Aina, ecological sustainability, Aina Aloha economics, local food economies, Ea, food sovereignty, and then Ola Loa, or long-term resilience. And I want to just like really quickly run through the strategies as well, just so you have a better sense. So yeah, of what specifically the plan will aim to do. And then these are also categories that I'm hoping to ask for your help in coming up with ideas for, especially related to food gardens. So the first one, Pono, food and nutrition security. So a Pono food system is one that ensures all households have consistent and equitable access to healthy, safe, affordable, and culturally valued foods essential to optimal health and well-being. And I've really divided this into two strategies. One is to reduce food and nutrition insecurity by strengthening food and economic assistance programs. So that really focuses on the financial aspect of food insecurity. And then the second one is to promote widespread adoption of healthy and sustainable diets that incorporate culturally valued foods. And as we go through, you'll see I've highlighted in yellow the strategies that I think are really applicable to this particular network. And those are the areas that I'm hoping that we can focus on when I ask for your ideas. The second dimension is Malama Aina, ecological sustainability. It's where food system activities safeguard Hawaii's natural resources for present and future generations. So the strategies we have are to support environmentally sustainable and indigenous agricultural practices, reduce food waste, and strengthen freshwater security by conserving water and protecting water quality. The third is Aina Aloha economics, which is all about local food economies. And that's where robust local food economies create good jobs and regenerate both communities and Aina. The strategies are to build robust local supply chains and markets that are accessible to small and mid-sized actors, and to strengthen and invest in workforce development for the agricultural sector. I know I'm just reading off these slides, but for me, this is really the meat of the plan, and really critical. So thank you for bearing with me, and hopefully it gives you a better sense of what the plan is about and how we're approaching it. The fourth dimension is EA, is all about food sovereignty and agency. So this is where communities practice food sovereignty by participating in and shaping food systems in ways that align with community goals and cultural practices. So strategies include restoring cultural connections to Aina through biocultural revitalization, increasing access to food gardens in all forms. So that's a specific strategy that I think is probably the most relevant to this group. We specifically articulated increasing access to food gardens as a key component of this plan, and then advancing food literacy as well. And then finally, the final dimension, Olaloa, long-term resilience, where Oahu embraces a thoughtful and planned approach to food system transformation that safeguards against future shocks and stresses and ensures long-term food system resilience. So some strategies are to strengthen emergency food preparedness and long-term food system resilience, and then also to bolster food system planning, collaboration, and research. So those are the 5 dimensions. What I was hoping to ask for all of your help for today is to pitch an action, come up with an idea that you want to see in the food plan. Related to food gardens, I thought would be most relevant, but it doesn't have to be. Anything related to food system, I think it will fit in these 5 dimensions and strategies. And as you're thinking about your ideas, I'm going to share a Google Doc and just ask everybody to write it in. But if you could also think about, try and make your idea precise and to fulfill a specific need or a gap. We also want to make sure that it's appropriately scaled and scoped. So, for example, at the state level, we have a Department of Agriculture and we have a Department of Health. The city and county of Honolulu doesn't have a Department of Agriculture. So we're not necessarily we can't, for example, run an agricultural park as easily as the Department of Agriculture can. We don't have the DOEs at the state level, so we don't have as much say. We can't make decisions about farm to school, for example, or local procurement of food in public schools because we're not the DOE. We can support the DOE in many ways, and that's what we hope to do, but it has to be within our kind of kuleana. And then think about funding as well. So just to give you an example, like maybe an idea that is, or a phrasing that is less helpful is expand the number of community gardens on Oahu. That's great. Yes, we want to do that, but how, where, for whom? Maybe something that's a little bit more specific is to partner with a community-based organization to pilot a new model of community gardens. This is something that, you know, we've talked about at the city. Anna and Kate are much better positioned than me to talk about this, but you know, our current community garden, recreational community garden approach is we have allotment style plots. But maybe we can try some other kind of model that's more communal and maybe appeals to people in different ways. So that's something that's an idea that's come up that I would love to include in the plan. To kind of help you think about and hone these ideas a little bit more. These are some prompts that I just wanted to share. So, for example, if you could spend $100,000 to further, I'm sorry, that should say food gardens goals on Oahu, what project would you propose? What if it was $1 million? And then how would you design these projects to ensure that the impact lasts beyond the funding? That is something that we're often asked, that like, okay, the funding's run out, but how is what you've done still impacting the community and having benefits? And there are many types of projects that we can do. The research, policy and planning, technical assistance, they're all listed here. So these are different areas that you might want to think about. So are there any question? Actually, sorry, I'm going to stop sharing right now. I can figure out. I just talked a lot through a lot of information. Are there any questions?
Oh, I had a question.
Yes.
Just as someone also working on a county plan, similar plan,
Yeah.
you said eventually the mayor will approve it. I was just wondering, like, yeah, are you trying to get it also adopted as ordinance, or yeah, what's like the end goal?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think our approach right now is to not go for a council approval and adoption, but just to get it approved by mayor internally within this kind of city government, so that we can say like, yeah, this will guide our actions going forward, but it's not going to be I don't think we're going to aim for ordinance right now. In terms of there are other plans at CCSR that were adopted by council, and I think in some cases it's more helpful because of federal funding coming in and things like that. But I think for now, the first step is to just get approved by mayor. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions before I throw the link in the doc? Awesome. Okay. So here is a link to a Google Doc. And feel free, if you can, to click on that and just start writing. I'm going to, hopefully if we can take maybe 3 to 5 minutes, just of quiet time so you can be with your thoughts. You don't have to hear my voice. If you can, you know, it helps to have a succinct title to communicate the purpose of your idea. 3 to 5 sentences would be great if you can pull that off. But this is not like, don't, I would rather you just get your ideas out as much as possible and kind of think through and this is a brainstorming activity. This is not, I don't expect like something like to be perfectly formed.
While we do this,
Yeah.
would you mind going back to the slide and sharing your screen again on the slide that has like the list of, you know, all possible areas you could be imagining in?
Absolutely. And actually on the Google Doc, I have that diagram and all the um, and all the different strategies are there if you scroll down. I think should be there. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen and I'll go back and show the prompts if that's okay, just to help.
And Jason, if you could real quick go over exactly what you're looking for with these ideas again.
Sure. I'm looking, oh shoot, I'm sorry. I should have, so I'll share an example of what a potential action could be for this plan. Here's an example, it's to install more garden beds at city public housing sites where appropriate. So in 2020, we installed a bunch of garden beds. Right now, the city is doing an assessment of those garden beds. But going forward, we know that we want to increase access to food growing spaces for people living in city public housing sites. I've put an estimated budget and timeline there, but these are the kinds of specific ideas. They could relate to food gardens, but they don't have to. They could relate to other aspects of the food system. And especially, depending on where you are coming from the food system, if yeah, I think it makes more sense to really focus on what you know, and what you care about. So please feel free to write down whatever comes to your mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks, Jason.
Awesome. And I know even though this is City and County of Honolulu, like that doesn't, we absolutely welcome ideas from other counties across Hawaii. We'd love to be inspired by you folks. All right, I'll be quiet. Maybe about 1 more minute. I wish I could spend hours on this, but I really appreciate all these fantastic ideas. I think what we'll do, some people are still writing, so please keep writing. But for those that are finished, maybe we could go through and just like share maybe one or two ideas from what you've written. Um, it um, I'll call on people who look like they're done typing.
Jason,
Alex,
I
do you
just
mind?
want to interrupt real quick,
Yep.
just to let you know that we do have Anthony Chance here to speak on
Oh, okay.
Hui Ohono. So that's okay. I think we still can spend maybe, can we just do like 3 to 5 minutes on sharing out and
Absolutely.
then we'll get
Yeah.
to the second presentation? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you.
Jason, why don't we skip me since you and I talk about this stuff all the time too?
Okay, sure. Let's see. Anna Ezzy, do you mind if I ask you to share really quick?
Yeah. Really quick, and I'm sorry, I don't have very much context for your city and county ordinances and processes over there, so I'm kind of thinking with our Big Island context. But yeah, I basically just kind of outlined streamlining state and county composting permits. I just know for us on the Big Island, that's an issue for community gardens that are trying to, yeah, produce compost and sell it to the community to sustain themselves. So I'm not sure what the situation's like over there, but yeah. And if you want to talk more about biocultural restoration or recommendations around that, I would love to talk more. I just finished my master's thesis interviewing agroforestry practitioners, so would love to share.
Amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Ati, do you mind if I ask you to share?
Sure. Yeah, I just wrote a bunch of just ideas. I didn't see the prompts until I turned back to the screen. But anyway, yeah, the funding, I think, trying to create what your templates are for your community gardens, I think that has to be fleshed out before you dive into the community. Um, and yeah, I just gave an example of urban, rural, suburban classifications for gardens, and then also looking at the city doesn't have the departments, but they do have properties that could be converted maybe in these set scenarios for gardens.
Yeah.
And then Anna brought in the Devon Urban Gardens group, and they were really it was a good presentation, and I liked the ideas and the concepts that they brought to the table. And it wasn't directly the city's responsibility, they helped, but they did support this group. And then just training to encourage more gardeners and see the relevance and the necessity for this action. Yeah, creating, and then once that's established, creating triggers and incentives for sharing the produce with their neighbors and community. And then also, highlighting cultural gardens. There's so many different cultures here. They grow their own plants. Sometimes they smuggle the seeds over and they're here. But, I think that's a community building activity as well, as far as community gardens.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. Okay, I'm gonna maybe Stacy, if I could ask you to share one or two thoughts, and then um, one with Tony, and then you can go straight into it.
Thank you. Yeah, so I feel like everybody had a lot of really cool ideas. I just tried to kind of go off of maybe where we can fill in some gaps. So, um, my thing is like, create more opportunities like this for community engagement in the garden planning. Um, and then that goes along with having more conversations around like what are we growing in the gardens? Do people actually eat it? And maybe this requires like diet education workshops that are based around community gardens or what the gardens can provide for the communities. And I put the Waianae Diet Program as an example.
Mm.
And then connecting community gardens to feeding programs like Feed My Block and church food share programs. There's like a whole connection of different churches on the island that do food shares, and then the food bank, of course. And then my last point is to have all of these community garden planners coordinate with state organizations that have access to small parcels that can be turned into community gardens. So hopefully that goes into what everybody else is saying about like the legal aspects of this. But I think um like departments like Department of Transportation, they have really small parcels that they don't really use for anything. So we could turn them into gardens. So just some ideas. Thank you.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah. And thank you so much, everybody, for these really great ideas. Tony, I'm going to end with you, and then I'll hand it off to you for your presentation, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yep. Aloha, my kako. My name is Anthony Chance. Formerly, I do go by Tony. I am the CEO and founder of Hui o Ho'oonua, or HOH 808. Here recently, just to speak on everything that we're discussing, and the timing is just perfect. Tomorrow, we kick off our new program, HOH 808 Farms. Our organization was able to get a right of entry, an ROE with the city. The mayor came down and presented it to us for 57 acres of city property to maintain. And so anyway, as time went on, we decided to turn those 44 acres of the 57 acres into actual farmlands. And I'm not a farmer or a gardener, so this is a new endeavor. But we are working with the USDA. We did put in for farm status, and we are working through the USDA. We have a community planner that is working with us, Kai Rigney. We are also working with CTAR to assist us. We're working with community partners, the community, the Senator Aquino, Rep Lamaseo, Augie, City Council, to make these. And we're also working with the area schools there, Waipahu Elementary, which is behind the property. The principal I just met opening day at the ledge. I was able to meet with all the area principals to discuss our project there, and we are we're looking more at a farm outlay, vice mini gardens like community gardens, because we didn't want to have it separate plots, separate families, separate agencies. So it would have been just too much to handle logistically and administratively. So we're deciding on making it into an actual farm where we have an assessment, food assessment, and that's what we're kind of looking for right now. Someone who has those skill sets to go into the community and determine what foods the community needs and not what we tell them. There is an 8-acre plot behind the intermediate school, Waipahu Intermediate, that will be a lo'i. That's where we're starting tomorrow to clear that out. We're splitting our areas into zones-ish. I mean, this is all brand new, so it's growing as every day. So terminologies, we're not married to any type of terminologies just yet, but each area will have its own po'o and cultural practitioner in those areas. We have we have 2 po'os right now. We're looking for number 3, and so the 44 acres now could grow, but we're just starting right now in the lo'i area. We're looking for community partners from everywhere to look at models that have worked. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. If things have not been done before, we're working with the city closely. Kat Tashner, she's the land property for DLM, whatever DLM, Department of Land Management. So she's the director there. She's the one that actually developed the ROE for us. And so we're working close with Kat on the property and growing our properties. The superintendent of the Waipahu High School would love to turn the area behind the high school into community or to a urban farm as well, where the students. So we're doing a K through grad school program, farm to school program, farm to table. It touches so many aspects of what the community, just the needs of the community, and it all begins in the kindergartner. That's where it starts, and growing through the schools, getting the schools involved. We're learning that there's so many schools, area schools that have academies, environmental academies that we're going to bring in to be experts and models that we use for the students. I am not an educator. My background, I'm a retired Navy Seabee, so construction is my background. I'm currently a social worker working at the VA. I have my master's, licensed, working with our homeless veterans and the homeless population. We're looking at possibly on state property building tiny homes for using Auntie Twinkles' model to incorporate our houseless individuals who would assist us in stewarding the land as well, and providing a secure location for them, for our houseless to be taken care of, all off the grid, solar, compostable toilets, running water, mobile, so we can move them in times of emergencies. We're working with the Albizia project to come in and reuse our invasive species that we find, to reuse those into building, use them as building materials. So repurposing everything we are trying to get rid of. We have a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges. Of course, any government, I can say that. I've worked for the government for 32 years now. So I can make fun of the government. So, there's nothing easy about working with bureaucracy, especially when you're asking people to do things have never, that have not been done before. They have not been done before. So it's really difficult, especially when you're working with gatekeepers that are very gatekeeperish. So we do have some challenges, but together, the community is the most powerful force that we have and most important. So it is going to take a village to make this happen. So we are starting tomorrow, and we're not going to finish until tens and thousands of people are fed. And that's our story. We don't have too much on it because it is so new, and we are gaining strength. But so we don't have logo yet. We don't have shirts yet, but we're going to have muddy hands starting tomorrow. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions, please feel free. I'll put my contact information in the chat. And yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for allowing me this time to come on this morning.
Thank you so much, Tony, for speaking about this amazing collaborative project. That's kind of the first of its kind, I think, in terms of working on public land across agencies. It's not just DLM, there's DPR land in there, there's DFM land in there too, right? So it's and we all know how hard it can be even within the city government to work across agencies. So the fact that your organization was able to sort of broker that, I think is really telling. And if there's a way we can support in Hui Māla, even just Alex put in the chat this idea of maybe there are master's students or undergraduate students who are interested in applying a practicum to support the sort of horticultural planning or tree planting planning, whatever that you're any sort of gap that you're trying to fill. If you want to share that with us and we can kind of see where we can connect the dots, that would be great. And also, what's the best way to find out when to volunteer or how to sign up to volunteer for your work days?
Yeah, that's coming out here shortly on our website. But so we have 3 areas right now, 3 zones, 3 areas. Our fish ponds that are in the West Lock area of Kapapapui Point Park is the second Saturday of every month, 8 to noon. The work days behind the Waipahu Intermediate for the Lo'i are going to be every third Saturday of the month. And we are proposing that behind the Waipahu Elementary, that it's going to be the fourth Saturday of every month. Again, that one's we have not identified a po'o for that area yet, so I know the school is very eager to get that started in a community garden for the keiki behind their school. We are working with the agencies too to work with our houseless populations as well. Our organizations do not believe in community sweeps, so we see our houseless as assets that could assist us in using, again, reiterating Auntie Twinkles and her legacy that she's left us to take care of our houseless. And she's the one that came up with Kuliano Wakes Up Mana. And it's a proof of concept idea that she has. It's working. So those areas, and again, it's going to be on our website, and I will I will put my contact information, and I will make sure that our community relations director, Kylina, and our HOH 808 Farms manager right now, Kayla, get everyone's information as well and make sure we get it up on our website.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. That's all really great information. And I can send also some of the info in a follow-up email to the network, along with the recording and the resources in the slide deck and everything. So amazing. Thank you so much. We have about 20 minutes left, and there's just a couple updates that I wanted to share out, and then we could go around the room again. And if anyone has any updates in their work, whether that be, related specifically to food gardening or just, something that might be interesting for us to know around food systems or public health or green space or resilience, whatever it may be, if it seems like it's worth sharing to this group, you're welcome to do it. We have enough time at the end to do it, but I'll just start quickly with sharing my screen. I've said this before and I'll say it again. We have a weekly leadership group that meets Thursdays 2 to 3 p.m. And among many of the working groups that we have, right, we've convened around the subject of mapping gardens, around public housing gardens, school gardens, funding, accessible gardening. We've convened these different interest areas, and one of them is sort of this leadership group. It's this idea of keeping not, I guess, the management of this and the longevity of this Hui alive, because we have people meeting on a weekly basis to check in on the agenda, what we want to talk about, what kind of speakers do we have on the monthly basis, where do we meet, or on a monthly basis, and where do we want to meet in person on a quarterly basis, and among other things. Like that leadership group does talk about more of the admin stuff, but also funding and funding opportunities, and how do we want to spend the money that we do have. So open invite. If you're interested in taking on more of a leadership role, let me know and I can send you the Zoom link that's for the regular Thursday leadership group. Melody Halsell, a member of the Hui who isn't here today, shared this funding opportunity that might be interesting for people in the Hui. So I just wanted to throw the link here, put it in the chat. It's with the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Get the chat open. Where'd the chat go? There it is. And it's for reimagining land use and zoning for health equity. So I think food gardens can fit in there. And I know that there is this question mark around what kind of policies or lack thereof in our landscape across Hawaii influence growing food on public land or private land for that matter. And this is to be continued, this conversation around policy. Maybe the policy subgroup or interest group will convene, discuss this, and get a better understanding of what the barriers or opportunities might be here. But I wanted to highlight this funding opportunity because it could be a way to explore, could be funding to explore how to better zone land for food gardens. And then this is a screenshot from Grow Good Hawaii's website. And this link, put that in the chat as well. They have a lot of really good opportunities right now, including a part-time internship or a couple part-time internships and a AmeriCorps member position, and among other things. I think I can share out the PDFs with more information about these opportunities with Grow Good Hawaii, but I heard from Paul that they are struggling to fill them, so I'm trying to share it out with as many people as possible. Alex, did I cover that? Is that more or less what?
Yeah, and just noting that these are paid opportunities. I think it's between $17 and $20 an hour.
And they're within the realm, agroforestry, right? So within the realm of what our Hui is doing. As always, I close out with just a reminder that we have our website, we have our resource folder, we have a spreadsheet where you can put your email to express interest in particular working groups, like leadership group, like policy, like defining key terms. The next convening, the date still be determined in February, but we will be in the meantime convening the funding working group again. So if you're interested in funding, keep an eye out for that. I will send out an invite to the entire network. And for new participants, please fill out the form. Gets us, an understanding, if you haven't already, some people have, but it gives us an understanding on your availability and sort of a baseline of where we're at so that we can measure again in a year from now and see if there's been changes with the Hui over time. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing screen and spend the last 15 minutes or however long if people will have updates in their work that they'd like to share. Anything, any funding opportunities, job opportunities, wins, challenges, anything at all.
I wanted to share because I had brought to this group the R&D, our department's impact grants. I don't know if anyone's based on Hawaii Island in this group, but I just wanted to update that the deadline to apply was extended to February 5th because the previous deadline was very short. I'll just put a link with more info in the chat.
Good to know. Thanks, Anna.
So I have an update/challenge from our little community garden in Mililani. We're trying to do some composting, and it is definitely not going well because I think the challenge of having a lot of different people feeding things into one composter and not everybody being on the same page of what is good to compost, what is not good to compost. And so it's usually full of cockroaches. And we're needing some education on our composting process.
Have you had anybody come in and do sort of a third-party educational workshop on the composting?
We have not, and that we would love that, like a master gardener or somebody. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I have a sense that there maybe is some conflict arising from this differing. No? No, okay, okay, great. Sorry, just speaking from our own experience. But so maybe this isn't, I was gonna say like having a third party kind of authority on a subject can help like divert some of that, but maybe that's still helpful because yeah, maybe sometimes having like someone you haven't, I don't know. We've experienced this like even with Kate being like the community garden coordinator, like she'll say the exact same thing that a gardener has said, but because there isn't like a history of challenges, like they'll listen to her and take her word, but if someone else says it, they'll be like, nah, I don't. So that's just, it doesn't really land the same way knowing that there isn't like conflict arising, but maybe it does have a similar effect in terms of like retaining information.
Yeah, definitely. No, that would be great. It's mostly just forgotten is mostly what's going on. So I think it's just kind of like stirring up some interest and excitement about like we could be having this awesome product of compost, but it's just not happening. So yeah, I think we need some inspiration.
And
Sorry, Anna. I just want to put it out there that the Urban Garden Center in Pearl City, we're starting a worm hui, and Mindy Jaff, I think that's how you say her last name, has been coming. So they've integrated composting into their curriculum for this upcoming cohort. So if you are interested, Anya, in coming to her workshops, she wants to do one at least once a month. I'll put my email in the chat and you can talk to me about it and you can just come by and meet Mindy the next time she's there. But yeah, we have a few other elementary schools that come to her workshops, but they're from like Kailua and like Lanikai and stuff. So it'd be great to get more people closer to Pearl City to come to her workshop. So yeah, I'll put my email in the chat.
Awesome. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, thank you.
And I also officially enrolled in the Master Gardener program. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I graduate and I have more potential to provide volunteer work or support to others.
Weren't you a farmer? I don't think you're gonna have any problem graduating.
I mean, my friend Anna gave me a big eye roll when I was like, "Oh yeah," but I think I need the certificate so people can listen to me.
And then we'll call on you for your expertise after.
I guess I can share, Anna, our two projects, or I'm working on with the RTCA program, National Park Service. Our project in Kauai at Alacoco Fish Ponds, the restoration, the biocultural restoration. I saw that was brought up in our conversations earlier. So we're at hopefully the final point of our restoration master plan document. It's being vetted through community. They really want it to be a reflection of community's needs and wants, and so it's taking a little longer. But also at the same time, trying to negotiate. We're talking about land and sharing land and how to get on it. They're trying to negotiate for managing land that's adjacent to them, which is U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service land, and they're trying to create that whole aquaculture system there, including restoring lo'is and the fish pond, and putting little gardens in there as well. And it's all contingent on water, and most of the water is coming from that area. So it's once again a lot of delicate conversations, negotiations, what have you, but they seem to be making it work. I think people should pay attention to what's going on there because it's definitely a model for future, especially if there are connecting agri-aquacultural systems, which we still have here in Hawaii. Also, Makalapa Park, we're still trying to create strengthen our hui, trying to find leaders for the Makalapa Park. It is in the midst of a huge redevelopment efforts on multiple fronts, and this little 6-acre park is the only public green space in a 2-mile radius. So it's really important that we get participation. So I'm hoping, with some of the folks here that have worked with public housing, how do we get into those communities and communicate with them? Because HP, Hawaii Public Housing Authority, is not that friendly with outsiders coming in and talking to the residents. So any kind of help there would be great. So that's it for me. Thanks, guys.
Does that
I was wondering.
Oh, sorry. Just a quick follow-up question for Ati, and then does that particular housing site have a resident manager?
If they do, we don't know who they are or if they're willing to even talk to us. We've tried multiple times. So what we do is our partners is Parents and Children Together PACT, the nonprofit that is on site at the HCAP building. So they have kids and attach them to families. So we try to get it out to them. But otherwise, it's really difficult trying to inform the folks of initiatives, of just plans, or even go on and do a service project. So yeah.
I just had another follow-up question. You mentioned about cultural restoration master plan. Is that available?
It's still being written. They're in the but I can if you give me your email or put it in the chat, I can keep you appraised of what's happening over there.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else? If not, then we can close the meeting a few minutes early today. And if you want to get out to, I think that there's a march happening right now. If you want to get to the Capitol, then now you have time to do so. But thank you again for being here, everybody, and continuing this work and for sharing information and being collaborators in this important food garden space. Have a really good long weekend if you have a long weekend. Ciao,
Thank
ciao.
you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Aloha.
Aloha. All right, just